Okay, so here we're actually, we're going to start setting up ratio tables to help deal with multiplication. And we'll start by multiplying with decimals. So I have 5 times 0.20. So we can think of simple decimals as coins. So I have 5 groups of 20 cents. How much do I have? I have $1. And in the next problem, we look at 4 groups of 20 cents. Well, that's going to be 20 cents less than 5 groups, right? We have one less group. So that'll just be 80 cents. And we move on to 4 groups of 25 cents. What does that equal? That's $1, right? It's like 4 quarters. You can think of it as 4 quarters. And now we have enough information, I think, to set up a ratio table. One ratio table can deal with sets of 25, and the other one can deal with sets of 20 cents. So groups or sets of 20 cents and the amount of dollars we get from that. Not that it's very necessary in these problems to do this, but this helps, I think, establish a pattern how to use, right, a ratio to solve for tougher problems. So if I have 5 groups of 20 cents, I have $1. If I have 4 groups, I have 80 cents. If I have 4 groups of 25 cents, I have $1. And now if I have a problem like this, right, well, if I have 9 cents of 20 cents, well, wouldn't that just be the sum of 5 and 4? 9 groups would be $1.80, and you can think of it that way. You use this ratio table to help you out. So 9 groups of 20 cents gives me $1.80. And in the next problem, if I said, well, what's 9 groups of 25 cents? Well, we know 4 groups is $1. So 5 groups has to be 1 more quarter. That's $1.25. And 9 groups has to be, well, the same thing as the sum of 4 groups and 5 groups, or $2.25. You could think of also, well, what if I had 10 quarters? I'd have $2.50. 9 quarters will be 25 cents less. Still, we get $2.25. We keep going. If I said, well, what's 16 times 0.25? Well, it's like having 16 quarters. And notice that we almost have enough for that. If 2 quarters is 50 cents, well, to get 16 quarters, I would just add the 4, the 2, and the 9, which gives me, that's 16, right? 9 plus 2 is 11, plus, oh boy, sorry about that. I would not add the 9, 2, and 4, but 9 plus 5 is 14, plus 2 is 16. So 16 groups of 25 is the sum of these 3 numbers. So it's $3.50, that's $4. So here we get $4. Another way to think about that is, well, every 4 of them gives me $1. So if I multiply that by 4, right, I get 16. So I also multiply $1 by 4 to keep this ratio intact. We could also use that to find 16 times 0.2. Again, I think I'm going to take that shortcut here. If 4 groups of 20 gives me $0.8, well, 16 has to give me, right, 4 times 4 is 16. 16 has to give me 4 times that. So 4 times 0.8, which brings us back to decimal multiplication, but that's really just, if you think of 4 times 8, right, that's 32, but here it's 0.8, so it's like having $3.20. And if you're not comfortable with that, again, you could find out, oh, well, 2 groups of 20 cents would give me 40 cents, 0.4 of a dollar. If I want to find out what 16 is, I can add 9 and 5 and 2. And that'll give me, right, $3.80, and 40 cents more is $3.20. So this is $3.20. All right, hope that helped.